Hey, how's it going? My name is Bryson here, and today we're going to talk a little bit more about the English Civil War. So let's just jump right into it. So in order to talk about the English Civil Wars, because there's just so much history and so much behind it, we kind of have to paint a better picture. We just want to provide a little more context of the major players behind the English Civil War. Starting with Charles I of England, he was born December 23rd, 1600, and he was a king who really didn't believe in the theology of predestination, but did believe in the divine right of kings. He really believed that kings were in place because they were divinely appointed. They were in place because they were God's kind of chosen spokesperson for his people. However, Charles I was not very religiously tolerant. During this time, he was persecuting a lot of other denominations and a lot of other sects, which really did upset and really create more of a divide between his people and him as ruler. We also see with Charles I too, he had a severe spending problem. Throughout most of his rule, England was suffering immensely, and so Charles I decided to tax, and tax some more, which really upset a lot of people, even people in Parliament. And that's what the English Civil War really boils down to. The English Civil War, it happened during the 17th century, like I said, and it was a series of conflicts, both politically and militarily, between these two groups called the Royalists and the Parliamentarians. And so the Royalists were the group that were really supportive of Charles I, who really believed in the divine right of kings and who really did follow him through the thick and thin. However, even with Charles's crazy ideologies, he actually kind of isolated himself from even his followers, and as a result, the other group, dubbed the Parliamentarians, were actually able to win the English Civil War. Now, the other guy we want to talk about here, his name is Oliver Cromwell, and so during this time too, he was a English general during the Civil War, born a year before King Charles, but he was the one who led armies of the Parliament against King Charles I. He was also super religious and did believe and endorse the idea of predestination, which is that belief that all things that have happened and will happen in your life are because of some sort of divine foreordination. And so these two groups, the Parliamentarians and the Royalists, stood for the benefits of different people. So the Parliamentarians stood for the benefits of the new bourgeoisie, new nobles, most of the commons. However, the Royalists stood for more of the benefits of the king, the old nobles, priests, bureaucrats, stuff like that. And the thing is, at this time too, we're right on the cusp of the Industrial Revolution. So with the development of the economy, with all these changes and all these questions, people were questioning a lot more, people were thinking a lot more for themselves. The conflicts between these two groups actually did start to become super serious. Since the 13th century, really, many nobles kind of who had money were able to buy lands and manage farms. Many farmers who lost their lands became those main laborers for the development of capitalism. England was right on the cusp of capitalism. It was right about to push through. Many farmers worked in one farm, and the products of that farm will go to the market directly. And furthermore, with the development of the economy, the bourgeois became an important part of society. However, here's the problem. Under the reign of the king, kind of showing that divide and that disparity between the two groups, the economy developed very slowly. The feudal system, which England was really known for, actually blocked the development of the country and of the economy. And because of this, Charles I decided to levy heavy taxes on the citizens for his own personal luxurious life and for the ongoing war that was happening during the time. However, because of this, more and more people began to oppose the reign of Charles I. And as a result, Charles also did not really care for the people. He kind of kept doing his own thing, and actually came even as far as to break and destroy the parliament. And this act alone is really what started and was the fuel to the fire. Him attempting to break down parliament enraged a lot of people, which sparked a ton of rebellions throughout the country. And so in November 1641, the parliament made and passed a document to accuse the Charles I of all the bad things he did, and required him, sort of as payment, to give industry and commerce freedom. Charles I, however, did not agree with this document in the slightest, and as a result, he thought, hey, I'll just fight fire with fire, and actually attempted to capture and hold members of the House of Commons prisoner. And so since Charles was just really not like being very cooperative with the House of Parliament, this is really what kickstarted this kickstarted the First English Civil War. Now, looking a little bit more at the parliamentarians and the royalists, the parliamentarian group was definitely the dominant group. 4/5 of taxes went to those areas, and most of the people supported the parliament. The army of the parliament, the parliamentarians, controlled important harbors. They controlled the navy. Whereas for the royalists were really hurting bad. They were down and out. A lot of their power, they kind of just got the floors mopped with them at this point. And so as a result, Charles I is handed over to English Parliament, and consequently, he is executed and killed. And so this is where, after his execution, Parliament then abolished the office of king, the House of Lords.